Hello. Today I'm working in this 9 by 6-ish something Jane Davenport mixed media journal, and this was just something I was playing around and it became a landscape, and it's mostly just done with marks. So I was going to show you how I did that, and it's really meditative, so hopefully you'll be able to mimic it if you just want to chill out with your paints and not really think too hard. A lot of these I've just gone through and laid down watercolor and let it dry because it takes a while to dry. So that's all that happened here, is that I laid down watercolor and dropped other watercolor into it, so you can see it's kind of flowering here because of the way it dried. And then I actually used a Faber-Castell aquarelle stick and kind of scribbled in this blue here, or green. And that's all I did so far. I'm gonna keep these handy because they're really useful. I have a little bucket of them here. And I also have my Jane Davenport magic wands, or rather pencil crayons, and you call them colored pencils in America, and I call them pencil crayons in Canada. So here I have some washi tape that I made using the Jane Davenport blank washi tape that's kind of got a paper texture to it, and then I promptly, got it accidentally stuck in black paint, but whatever. That's okay. So these are some of the things I'm going to be using today. I will use watercolor as well, and then maybe might even bring in some of these cool pens. So to start, I think here I use the what are these called? Mermaid markers or something, and to make these marks. Now this is just different, right? It's got that's not a typical like peach sky. It's kind of nice. This doesn't have a green foreground, so I'm going to work with the watercolor that's already here instead of just trying to turn it into that. And what I see here is I see like a rock ledge, like edge of a cliff, so we're going to make that darker. And more cliffs down here, so this reminds me of the canyons where I got married last summer in Texas. You also get these red hills in New Mexico too, reddish. Maybe some yellow. This yellow is vibrant. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. I can tone that down a little bit with a watercolor brush. These are water soluble, so they can be spread around, spread out, diluted, and even lifted off the page if you need to. How do we incorporate some of this washi? Looks a bit crazy to incorporate, but maybe we can try. Here the washi was used right here. There was textured washi used to kind of look like parts of this water and parts of the plants right here, and then there's also spotted washi used for the trees. So maybe forcing this washi into here is not the way to go, and I need to just use. Here are some tapes that might better suit our purposes, and just even looking at washi tape makes it go in a different direction. Like, really, these are flowers. How does that play in realistically at all? It doesn't. This orange one has little arrows on it and can add a nice, interesting texture with those really fine. You don't have to add washi. Adding a lot of water over it might pull it off. I'm not too worried about that right now though. This is just sort of spotted. It's abstract enough that we can add it in here to this tree area. Here's some branches. This might even be a little bit of a foreground situation. It's unexpected. Textures happening. Last but not least, this jumbo one. Oh, these are old, so whoa, not working amazingly. I'm sure we can work this in somehow. All right. We got some washi down. And maybe we need to define the tree line or whatever this is up here. Okay, there's my horizon. And these are too zingy, too defined. This works really well with that washi though. I did not plan that. This is my paint over pen. I'm going to be using some other paint pens today from the Musical Marker Country Classics set. Take Me Home. They're all named after country music songs, or the classics, obviously, as the name would suggest. Putting in some lines. I'm flat out drawing. This is not what I was expecting to do. I was expecting to just layer mark making, but we need to give some structure. So for this one, kind of like the structure of the trees. And I can recreate that if that's something you want to make, this sort of swampy tree thing. But today, apparently, we are drawing an interesting desert scene. I think we need to turn it into more of an abstraction. That's got to happen, I think. So let's start making some texture. It's barely noticeable. but it makes it seem like this little chunk of land is polka dotted. Because why not? This is Love is Like a Butterfly. It's kind of purpley. And I'm going to lay in a bunch of horizontal lines. So you can see I'm just building up the painting with repetition of marks. Nothing fancy. Other than this little horizon line, which you could copy. Okay. I'm keeping these patterns in this section only. I'm not going to spread it everywhere. I want these little different areas to be defined differently. I want them to look like different layers of land. So purple goes there. And up here, I think we need more of that texture. This flowery thing without full on drying flowers. They look like shrubby shrubs. Maybe we need a little green in there just to tie in that. I'm gonna use the aquarelle stick. The texture of these is much like a crayon, so it's picking up all the texture of the page. Not a bad thing. I don't love it, but not a bad thing. I think maybe it might be more interesting to do a pencil crayon, which lays over this, wow, really nicely. And I can use the green as like a shadow from the red shrubby things, maybe. Just kind of put it on the side of all the red shrubby things. Or wherever. Yeah, I like that. It's starting to kind of break into separate spaces. I'm going to leave that sky. Look at how much that looks like clouds. And we could add a bit of Storytime paint pens, Snow Queen. I'm going to leave it at that. Just a suggestion. And this doesn't really make sense, but who cares? I guess dirt valleys, and then somehow back here, lush. I'm just scribbling, people. I'm just scribbling. Let's switch it out. Make it interesting. Maybe add another color like blue. There's not much else I really want to do to this. It's interesting that these color pencils go over top of the washi too. It's really nice. So if you needed to define something, you could. Only thing I could say, and it's the same with this one too, is that it's very busy, but it's like a very specific style, just like patterned landscape. making landscapes just out of marks. So we have one in sort of warmer hues, at least this side, and then cooler on this side. I do think that we need to tie this in a little better. So let's maybe we're going to try a couple different colors here. I don't know what this isn't really what they look like, so I have to kind of test. So I'm adding a couple of lone lines that look like they could be maybe tree trunks. And if I make them smaller back here and then bigger up front, it's going to give the illusion of perspective. Medium size in the middle. It's going to make some of these ones that are up front a little taller. That's better. And that, just brown, is kind of warm, and it starts bringing these together. This is even warmer. Achy breaky heart. It's almost a rust. It is a rust. And I'm gonna do some lumps, like, I don't know, rocks, red rocks. A bit odd. It's a bit odd. What are you doing? It's a bit odd. But I don't care. My goal is to tie it together, not to make any sense. I don't have to make sense. Art does not have to make sense. Just make it pleasing to you. Maybe they are mud puddles. They are quicksand. Watch out. Zing. I need a runny green. I don't have my watercolors out, but I do have these. So let's go with darker rather than lime. We have a lot of lime already here. It's working. It's obviously not laying down on the washi tape the same way it's laying down on the paper. But this brush allows me to get big, wide strokes as well as little, smaller details with the point. And as I said, they're water soluble, so that kind of ties it in too, because we have green down here. In our weird bush shapes. We're adding speckles because there's kind of speckles in the tape. Why not? It really ties them in. So I mimicked the pattern on the washi tape, and you can too. Pick a washi you love or just that interests you in the moment, and then mimic the pattern around it. Voila. So I said I was going to use a brush. Here's one. And I was going to just try to spread out, tone down. Ooh, that's teal-y. Teal-ish. No, turquoise. It's very turquoisey. So that's fine. But very, 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 very dark and vibrant. Maybe this would show up better if it was dry, because it's not working right now, but that's fine. This is called Stand By Your Man, and it's a very pale blue. I'm just looking for something lighter. Again, I think paint pens have more success on dry medium, not layering over wet stuff. I'm literally just scribbling here, trying to Calm down. All that dark green. This is beige color. Called Beer with Duncan. A lot of things going on. I almost feel like this and this are competing, and then this is some sort of weird transition zone. I kind of like it though. Just turning to this page makes me feel calm. I think I'm just gonna leave it, and I can revisit it later and tweak it, but right now it's really nice. Just to, Wait, she said she was stopping, but she's not. This has green ink loaded into it, I believe. Always fun. Weird little quirky leaves. Oops, I drew over that aquarelle, that crayon. Anything waxy is going to wreck. It's going to get into the pen and wreck that. So got to be careful with where I'm putting it. Doesn't make sense really to have a green line there. This is still damp paper, and maybe that's why it's not showing up. Or have already wrecked it. No! Come on out. There we go. Phew. Okay, gotta be careful with these guys. Gotta be careful. Thanks for joining me to do a little patterned texture landscape, and we'll do some more. We'll keep doing them and see what happens, see if I can make it into a formula. Not that it should, but I'm just curious if it's reproducible over and over. It's very meditative. You don't have to think about it. It's relatively successful just because it's fun to look at, and I escape into landscapes. That's my thing. Love it. Join me again another time for some more drawing and painting.